How do you end up getting into a studio in grade four? Like, I mean, I guess you got some exposure at this point rapping as like a 8-year-old legacy, but like that's still a big evolution to get to a point where you're in a studio. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
I taught my little cousin how to rap. Um, he was 5, he was 6 when I was 7. So I learned how to rap and he was around me all the time. So I'm like, yo, man, you're gonna learn how to rap. So I just started writing raps for him or whatever. And how we did it, like I would write a rap, and the idea, we didn't know that like you write your own raps. We thought that, yo, if I got an idea for a song, I write the song and you rap it, your parts. And so early on, I would just write all, I would write raps, he would write raps, but we went to the studio because he looked in the yellow pages, man, and he found a recording studio and he called the number and they said it was $100 for 4 hours, and we didn't have a beat, nothing. We went in there and made a song. Like we made the beat. Like the engineer helped us make the beat. We recorded it. He gave it to us. We said nigga a whole lot, but we didn't cuss. Um, and from there, man, we started getting like equipment at home. And then by the time I got to the in the 7th grade, I started going to the studio on a regular, and we assigned the deal or whatever with a label here in Detroit
You got
called.
signed to a label that early?
Yeah, when I was 7, man, we were going like to like adult clubs in Detroit and performing. Like they were smoking weed, all kind of shit, dog. I'm in the 7th grade. My mother's there or whatever, like watching us, making sure, and we perform, and then we would have to leave. But we assigned to this label. It was called Interphase Metroplex Records, and it was ran by a guy named Juan Atkins, who's responsible for uh, house music. Like he literally, it's either house or techno. I don't know. I know that it's a BPM difference in distinguishing the two, and it's a rhythm difference.
Right.
But if you look him up, his name is Juan Atkins, and he actually started like what we know now as EDM. He started, literally started that.
And that dude signed you.
Yep. Me and my cousin.
That's
Yeah,
that's one
we
hell
had
of a
a
flex.
we had a demo deal, man. It really wasn't nothing. We just signed to do a song and a B side or whatever, and we recorded the song and the B side. But they had never put out rap. You feel me? So it was kind of and plus we were kids and should just did what it did.
I still think that getting to a position where at that point you got that kind of exposure is wild. Like just to go performing at a club at that age is not the common experience in any way,
Word.
shape, or form. And it's a testament to like one of the things that I guess I think about as I do this a lot and I talk to people is you're still doing things all this time later. Like I listened to the project you dropped in 2018,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like so it's not like you stopped making music. Nah, you're just decades deep now. So it's like this is just the start of something that turns into kind of like an epic run, you know? So that's
yeah.
wild.
Yeah, it was definitely something to learn from. Like it taught me how to create. I actually like being in the studio so young. I always ended up with engineers that showed me how and why they were doing stuff. So even at a young age, by the time I was like 17 years old, I had a full-time job as an engineer at a recording studio. Like I went to school for it. I damn near tested out of the classes. Um, I let me rewind. Um, I got out of I got promoted in high school. I skipped a grade, so like I went from the 10th grade to the 12th grade. So I got out of high school when I was 16, right? So I start while I was in college, I started going to taking up classes on sound engineering, and I ended up getting hired at what was the biggest studio in the Metro Detroit area at the time, or one of the most popular. This place called the Disc. Um, Guy named Craig Riley um, hired me, and I had learned a lot from this dude named Robert O. Robert Odell. I haven't seen him since I was a kid. I love the if anybody know this guy, if y'all could put me in contact with him. But I met with this guy Robert Odell. He showed me so much, and I instantly like as a late teen, man, I'm working in these recording studios, and I rap. So it was like I was really working there so I could record my music at a quality level. You know what I'm saying? And be able to make a little money doing what I like. So like I ended up like I did some sessions and sat in some sessions with like Busta Rhymes, Proof, um,
Say
and
word.
a few other people. Like as a kid, as a youngin or whatever, MC Breed, um, and shit. There, I learned a lot from people just working there. So I've always been involved, whether it was behind the scenes or in front of the camera.
I mean, what's it like being in sessions with people like that? Like, what are some of the lessons you can say having worked with people like that are actually professional with it?
Man, at that point I couldn't tell you much, man, because it was me trying to wrap my head around certain things, and I was also young, so I wasn't always,
Right.
I didn't know what to do or say. I was quiet. I was starstruck. I was trying to work hard and show that I could do certain things, but I was trying not to cross like that platform. The a few things I learned. Um, Buster was a perfectionist, but he was also very competitive. We ended up, the best moment wasn't even like sitting in the room for a few seconds. It was, we played NBA Streets on PlayStation and I kicked his ass. Like, like, but like he tried to one up me because I beat his homie on the game and I had the Lakers and I'm a real big Kobe Bryant fan. And he was like, yo, so the Lakers is my team, man. So, how we gonna do this? And in my mind it's like, this Busta Rhymes. Usually, somebody probably would be like, oh man, well, you're Busta Rhymes. You can have whoever you want. Well, I was like, well, shit, man, I just won. So I'm gonna pick the Lakers since I won. And he said, well, we just gonna be two Lakers having motherfuckers then. And in my mind, I'm about to kick Busta Rhymes' ass in this game, right? And I'm gonna win and put my name in the computer. I mean, in the ranking as the winner. And he's gonna be so amazed by me being able to kick his ass in this game. He's gonna say, "Hey, man, do you rap?" Like that never happened. But like because I was worried about saying I rap when I'm supposed to be like an engineer here. You know what I'm saying? So that was really dope. I learned a lot about the business because the guy that owned the studio, he owned um, a lot of the Parliament catalog, and he wasn't in fucking Parliament, and that confused me when I first got there. I was like, "Yo, how does that work? How did you how did you like how does he own George Clinton? Like he don't play no instruments. He ain't write no fucking songs. What happened?" And so, you know, I got information and that started like opening up my eyes to like, oh damn man, it's really like people can own people's stuff. Damn, so those are some of the valuable lessons I learned outside of just the art of recording, mixing, and mastering and shit like that.
So at that point, you're basically super young, out of high school and college, kind of in the studio, getting paid full time to be an engineer, which already is wild, because like that's something people crave to do now and they're still struggling to pull off. So that's a hella flex. Um, you're working with people that have incredible stories come out of it. So what happens at that point? Are you like super focused on the music at this point? And at the same time, are you getting involved in battles at this point, or is that like something that just kind of comes later on?
Nah, it comes later on. I didn't know about battle. I was on the set of 8 Mile as an extra when I when
Wait,
I actually found out about like the battle rap scene.
you got to be a extra on the set at 8 Mile.
Yep.
That's for how? That's fucking cool.
Um. Well, just to rewind real quick, I had a kid.
Mm.
Shortly after I had a kid, when I was like 18, 19. So the scope of what life was about kind of changed. It was about providing or whatever, not just for me, but for my kid. And I was a kid. Like, so I didn't spend any time as an adult, like taking care of me. It was either I was being taken care of by my parent or I was taking care of a kid. When it comes down to the 8 Mile, fast forward a few years, the film at 8 Mile, my manager at the time, I met my manager because there was a recording studio near my house, and I just walked up there and knocked on the door and told them that I made beats, and I did, but I wanted to rap. You know what I'm saying? But that was my end. I was like, yo, man, I make beats. I'm a producer, so I get. They had all the equipment, so I go there and I make beats and fuck around. And I found out who was managing the label, and I was like, hey, can I give you some of my stuff? And I gave him every song I had ever recorded in my life. Um, it was on 2 tapes. It was like 180 minutes worth of me just rapping to anything I could get my hands on. And he was managing. He started giving me shows. My first big show, ironically, was opening up for the Wu-Tang Clan.
Nice.
Um, and the irony in that is, like, I got Method Man on my album coming out in a few months called Jonah. But so he was managing this guy named Strike, who was in 8 Mile, and he played Lickety Split. He was the guy where Eminem grabbed his legs and pulled him out from under him on top of the car or whatever.
Right.
And they were um they were holding auditions, and he got a role. I didn't get a role, but they allowed me to be an extra. You know what I'm saying? So, um, what's funny is my cousin was actually called to be an extra, and he didn't want to go or couldn't go, and I told him I'd go, and I just showed up, and man, I was on the set every single day, in the cold, hand warmers in my pockets, hand warmers in my shoes that they're supplying, going to wardrobe, learning about continuity, seeing how films are made, shot, directed. I met Proof during that time. Rest in peace, Big Proof. We played chess. That's how I met him. I never really rapped on set, but there was a open mic night in Detroit that I've been trying to get into because I wanted to showcase my skill, but I was either too young or I would get there too late. And so I saw the bouncer on the set of the movie. And I was like, yo, man, I can really rap, man. I've been trying to go to this little open mic so I could rap. And he was like, all right, man, let me see what happens. So the battles, they had the competition to see who would be able to rap on, rap against Eminem. It's the thing that, like, if you're familiar with Marv One, he battles Eminem in this scene. So does Super MC, so does Diffusion, so there's a guy named G Wiz. And cats got up there and they were auditioning to be a part of it. And it was every rapper. And I'm sitting up and I'm like, I'm watching these guys go up there and rap. And I'm not on the list to get my name because I didn't know about it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get there in time for it. So everybody's there and I'm watching these motherfuckers and I'm like, man, I could do that. like, I'm like, and I'm seeing people saying, oh, and I'm like, yo, I can do that. Like I had clever lines and stuff, but I never directed my raps at anybody. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sitting up, I'm like, yo, I could do that. That ain't shit. And I thought, oh, this is what you do to get recognition so people can respect what you do. I had never found an outlet like that. Like I was doing like talent shows where you'll fucking lose to some motherfuckers dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like in like it'd be like, what the fuck, man? I lose to a gospel choir. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, I could do this. And I went to that open mic, man, and I started rapping at the open mic. The first battle I got in, Big Proof from D12, man, he was hosting it, and I won the battle. And when he saw me, he was like, he remembered me from playing chess, right? And he called me Poindexter because he was like, I look like a whiz kid or something because I looked really really young. And I won $100, dog, and that started it. And by the end of that same year, I had a TV show on Showtime, and it was about battle rapping.
Hold on, we gotta get to that for sure. But like, Proof was one of my favorites when I was younger, back in like the high school days. What's it like? Like, what's he like? Like, that guy is pretty epic to me.
Man, he cared about the city. He cared about the MCs. He cared about all sides of hip hop when it came down to rap. He's a great leader, man. He gave a lot of opportunity. Um, he would go to the Grammys and then come host shit. He went to the Grammys and got home and hosted my battle and gave me $100 out of his pocket. He would do a show with Eminem and 50 Cent and then come around the corner to the local open mic and listen. He would, a motherfucker came from Minnesota. I was at a strip club playing the video. I used to go to the strip club. I was younger than I should be, and I used to play video games and sell weed. And that was my thing because the strippers had money, and the people that came to see them had money. So if you get a stripper some weed to smoke, she gonna bring people to buy weed from you, allegedly. So man,
Allegedly.
proof would proof would like I remember a guy came from Minnesota and he was talking shit and I battled him and I kicked his ass and he was still talking shit. And then Proof just started battling this guy freestyling like a nobody from Minnesota. And while this guy was 6 foot 250, he was a big guy. And Proof is just slapping his chest while he rapping to him. Dog. He just like, and I'm telling you, and like it was crazy. But he was fun loving, man. He really took care of his own, man. It was a lot of people. I wasn't always around like his immediate circle. He and I had our independent relationship. Um, but like the people that he had like on his record label, and the people that he rocked with, he was very very supportive, and he helped a lot of people see a lot of things in this game and in this culture that they wouldn't have ever seen. And he gave me my best piece of advice in a rap battle. He told me, "Don't hold back." I was in a battle and I did win, and he was like, "Did you have more stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." He like, "What was you waiting on?" I like, "I didn't want to use all my good shit into the near the end." He like, "See where I got you." He like, "You'll always come up." And this was when I was, you freestyle. He's like, "Yo, man, you'll always come up with more stuff." So rap.
Yeah, that's big.